we're going to work on like guard maintenance and recovery and basically focusing on how to invert. And I know it's a fundamental class, and definitely when I was coming through, people didn't think of doing inverting as well. I didn't even, when I first started, inverting pretty much didn't exist. Sure, people were doing it, but it was never like a big thing. But now it's so common. If you want to have a good guard, you have to be able to invert. So I think you can think of it as a fundamental technique. It's just basically a way of being able to maintain your guard. And so obviously, Simon starts to pass around my guard to the side like this. Yeah? Maybe just for the sake of it, don't grab my legs, just run around. Yeah. Now, if I want to keep recovering my guard and keep like my legs facing Simon, if he runs really fast, like here, just run around. He's on his feet, he's going to move way quicker than I can with my legs. Yeah. So if I'm trying to catch him by going, so run around. If I'm trying to catch him by like swinging my legs out, I'm going to lose this battle. So I need to have another way of trying to recover my guard. And I'm going to do that by trying to invert. So if I can get my any foot, usually, actually, best one's your like far leg, the one on the furthest away from the direction they're moving. So Simon moves around again. I want to try and keep this in contact. At least this lets me move with him a bit. But it's still going to be hard to chase him with this bottom leg. So if I want to get my guard back, instead of trying to get my bottom leg through, I'm going to lift my hips up and roll through like that. And he's going to go the other side, like this, and we can go left and right. Okay, now a key thing for this, if you want to practice inverting, first of all, your hips have to come off the ground. So I see a lot of people try to do it like this. That's not right. You're giving like a big space for them to come through. As Simon comes around, I lift my hips up, and that lets me spin through. Okay. Second thing, do not try and push them away. It's really important to think about distance control, and we're going to work how to do this from different ranges. Like here we're doing it from far away. But I never want to push Simon away so far that I lose contact. He passes my guard really easily then. I want to maintain contact the whole time. So even though my legs in contact with Simon, I'm not trying to get him back there. Yeah, I want to keep in contact so when he moves around, I get a chance to lift my hips and spin through. Feel free to use your hands to assist if you need to, but you may or may not need to. Okay, so again, left to right. Use your legs, lift your hips, and let's spin through. For the sake of it, Simon, just stop there. Yep. So Simon's going to go like kind of halfway around. I have to do the rest of the spin. I don't want him to do the full spin for me. Okay, so let's just do that one first. Then we're going to work from a closer range and work some different ways that we can try to invert. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's like probably at distance is kind of the hardest one to get at first because like you actually want to use that pressure a bit to help you. So let's talk about a few more details that will make this work a bit better. Simon starts to pass, but so the first distance we were working was at the distance of the feet. This is a really good distance to work our guard from because Simon's got to pass the line of my feet, then the line of my knees, and then the line of my hips to actually pass the guard. So he's got a long way to go. Each layer he passes from there, he's closer to passing my guard. Obviously that's generally worse off for me. But there is one way he can get around that. Like if I straighten my legs, he can do the straight out Toreando, which kind of like is one way he can pass my whole guard. If someone's on his back, let me just demonstrate. Yeah, so usually just about every guard pass, like I need to clear the line of the feet, then I need to clear the line of the knees, and then the last thing I need to do is clear the line of the hips. So there's quite a lot for me to get through here. The one exception to that is the Toreando, where I can kind of like, I still clear that distance, but I can do it all in one motion. So that's why we don't want to kick away and just give them a, when Simon straightens his leg and pushes me away, it just gives me a chance to redirect his legs, okay? So you want to maintain contact, but keep the leg bent. If he keeps his leg bent here, it's much harder for me to pass that knee line. His legs aren't straight and he's still protecting that space. Okay, so let's switch it up again. This time, so we're going to assume that Simon's gotten past the knee line here. So he's going to kind of pressure me a little bit, but he's gotten past the foot line, but I've still got my knees making space, yeah? So I can, if I feel in danger, I can use my legs to push away. Simon's going to pressure. Okay, just walk around. Okay, he's just pressuring and trying to pass like this. Alright, I need to keep my shin in contact, whether it can be on the hip or the shoulder. And we're going to invert to recover from here. Two important things when you're inverting. Actually, a couple of important things. The first one, if this leg's stuck, you're going to find it way harder to do. Yeah? So if I go to roll now, my leg stops me from rolling. So if I want to just straight out spin, I actually want that free and posting on the mat. That's going to help me lift my hips to begin the process. Second, I need to have the space where my hips are clear. If someone puts weight on my leg, on my hips, just straight up, like this, and I go to get up, and I can't lift the hips, the invert's going to be horrible. And the last thing, I can't let him cross face me either. If he grabs my head, and I try and spin underneath, I won't be able to. So what we're going to try and do, we're going to keep, like basically keeping his upper body away from controlling your body, even though he's getting around your legs. Okay, so as he starts to walk around, I put my foot on the mat and keep my shin in contact, I lift my hips, and I spin straight back to guard. And we can go the other way, my shin stays in contact, like so, and lift my hips, and I recover. Person on top, put like, if you're not putting pressure, it'll actually be harder for them to do it. Like put enough that, just enough that their shin should take a bit of weight, yeah? So as someone's passing, he's trying to like bring his chest forward as he walks around. I spin through, and recover my guard. Okay, so we're going to work from this distance, and then we're going to work if they've even passed the knee line next, which you can still invert. It gets harder again though. But this one, I think you should be able to do. So I think by the end of this class, everyone will be doing inversions well. 3, 2, 1. Everyone dizzy yet? Okay, so this time, Simon's going to have beaten the knee line. So just like, like he's passing from here. Actually, let me just go over a couple of things first. So I know when I first started doing all this inversion stuff, people were like, oh, you'll hurt your neck and all that sort of stuff, because like you're rolling over your neck. You shouldn't be putting pressure on your neck when you do this. It should be like, have a look at, like my shoulders should be pretty much flat against the mat, and my upper back should be kind of on the mat, so therefore my neck angle still should be quite straight. So we get to here, like it should be like this. Yeah, I can still lift my head off the mat, just like I can when I'm here. Yeah, so you don't want to have your feet like here. Now there's pressure on my neck, and if someone puts weight on me, it's trouble. But yeah, I want to kind of, I still want to have my shoulders somewhat flat on the mat, and that might be a little bit of a flexibility thing. Like if you're not flexible through your upper back, that's where you will put a bit more strain on your neck. If that's the case, be a bit more careful using these techniques, and sometimes it just means you've got to be willing to, like if someone does start to pressure you, just let them pass. Don't fight against it with your neck, okay? But if you're comfortable getting to here and still being able to lift your head off the ground, then I think you should be okay. All right. So this time Simon's past the knee line, and I'm going to have an underhook. So let's say we're in half guard, and he manages to free his leg, like so, okay? So I can still invert from here, but it's much harder. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start to take my right hand through, and I'm still going to use my right leg on the mat. I might not even, like, if we're assuming that he's past the knee line, I probably won't be able to get this leg in front to make space. But my underhook can still sort of keep him from getting good control. So we're going to go here, block them grabbing your head. If they grab your head, done, no invert, okay? And from here, so we're going to use our right foot, we're going to start to tuck our head, put our hand pretty much between our legs here, and lift our hips up off the ground. Once your hips are off the ground, you're going to roll back and kick your butt pretty much towards the head. So it's a little bit of a different motion. We're not like the last ones, we were kind of like spinning all the way through. This one, you invert, and then you just have to straight back, just like, almost like you're rolling to sit up. So again, we're here like this. Simon starts to pass. Guys, use this when they're moving away from you. If he's staying where he is, I'm not going to invert. I'm going to start trying to get up. But as he starts to pass around, I tuck my head, put my foot on the mat, lift my hips up, and we spin back together. Alright? Let's have a go at that. It's basically the same thing, just from a shorter distance. Actually, everyone, just find a space on the mat, do it once. Okay, so you're going to bring your foot towards your butt. You're going to take your bottom arm and your head towards your bottom knee. Okay, so you're going to like reach between your legs, bring your head there, And then you're just going to lift your hips up off the ground until your both shoulders are flat, and then just roll your hips forward. Alright, I'll just talk a little bit more about that. As I said, you need to get your butt in the air. So probably, this is one way if you don't do that, you're going to do it, it's going to not work out at all. So if I go like this, and try to go, like you can see I just gave him side control to squash me off. So I really need to hide the ability for him to get side control by lifting my butt. Yeah, see how there's no room for him to take side control here? And this leg's already in the way. So when he starts trying to pressure there, I'm going to end up back here. Now there are some fancy things you can do when you do, like when you recover with an invert, you can potentially, you know, like snag an arm and start to work a triangle, or like there's a few things like that. You can like play with them if you like, but they're not going to be the most high percent. Like once people know what's going on, that's hard to get. Just think of it more of a guard recovery tool. Okay. Alright, so if Simon's on his, just to go a bit more into when we use this one. So let's say Simon's got the underhook, but he kind of like felt like I might have moved enough that he couldn't grab my leg. So if he just tries, like normally we'll try and get to our knees and chase down a single leg if we can. But if we go back, that's if he can get my leg. If I've moved too far and Simon goes, I'm going to my knees here. So go, I'm going to take his back. As soon as I get the harness, he's done. Yeah. If Simon goes to do that on me, and instead of trying to like chase him and get up, where I give him my back, expose my back, what inverting does, it hides my back, because I get both shoulders on the mat. So as he starts to go around, I go here, try and get a harness. Yeah, like both my shoulders are pretty much on the mat, so he's got no room to reach under. So his only option here is to try to go to side control, and that's where I'm trying to spin my legs back in front. Alright. There's one other type of, sort of like an inversion, it's not quite the same, that I want to go over, and that's if all these ones we've done are when we're turning into our opponent, but what if they push their legs to face away? So we've just done everything where Simon's passing this way and I manage to face him and roll through, yeah? But what if he pushes my legs away? Can I do that? No. Okay, but I can do something quite similar. So as he pushes away like this, I want to just block and make sure I've got enough room for my my hips to be free. Okay, both start to come around like this. My hips are going to come up, and my aim is to get my hips on this side of Simon's head, like that, and I can swing back. Okay. If you do this and you don't get your hips to the other side of their head, you will just get past. Watch this. So I'll do it wrong. Simon pushes my legs, and I keep my hips here, and I try and swing my legs back in front of me. Just pass. Yeah. But when I free my hips to here, now my top leg can swing over, and I'll recover. Pass again. So this is the motion we're looking for. Use the momentum. So it's like they're springing you onto your feet, and you use that to come back. Watch it once more. Feet go on the mat, hips come up, and I spring them back.